If you can't monitor it, you can't manage it. This is true not only for people and processes, but also for data warehouses. That is the reason why Amazon Redshift focuses on providing new monitoring capabilities such as Visual Query Profiler, enhanced console dashboards, and new system views. I'm Satish Sonti, Senior Specialist Solution Architect with AWS. In this session, I'll walk you through recently launched enhanced monitoring capabilities in Amazon Redshift. Amazon Redshift now offers enhanced query monitoring capabilities, enabling you to efficiently identify and isolate performance bottlenecks. So with this new feature, you can analyze queries in specific time frame, find problematic queries, and also drill down for detailed query plans. You can also review performance trends of a query over a period of time. So this provides you with necessary insights to optimize your workloads and ensure efficient data warehouse operations. In this demo, we will cover how you can access and navigate the new enhanced monitoring user interface. Then we will get into the details on how you can drill down to specific time frame and see the queries ran during that time frame. And look at the different phases of the query, like compilation time, planning time, execution time, and see which phase took longer time and which phase finished faster. We'll also debug a query using Visual Query Profiler. We will take a query and see what is the bottleneck in the query execution, fix it, and observe the difference. Finally, we will cover monitoring trends in query performance. We will take an example query and see the effects of changing compute capacity on that query execution over a period of time. Let's get into the demo. We are now in Amazon Redshift console. On the left-hand side, you will see query and database monitoring option. If you click on that, it will take you to the enhanced monitoring view by default. If you turn this off, you will go back to the older view, but by default, it will be turned on so that you can get the new visual experience. I have 4 data warehouses in my account. Some are provisioned and some are serverless. You can see all of them in single pane. For provision, currently you need to connect to the database to see the metrics. And for serverless, you can get started with the IAM user or the role with which you logged in. On this pane, you can see the average query duration for each instance and the average number of queries ran. So that will give you a high level view of all the instances, how they are performing in your account. Now I would like to analyze the workload in CAD demo workgroup. So I select that. As soon as I select that, I'll be able to see the number of completed queries, running versus queued queries, average query elapsed time, and database connections and the compute used. So these are some of the metrics that are available as soon as you click on the work group. But let me dive deep into it. If I click on that, it will list down the query runtimes over a period of time. I will analyze for last 12 hours. So I select that time range. I will go in the interval of 1 hour. So then I can see that or during the day, there's significant queuing between 11:45 to 12:45. After that, there is no queuing. It's slowed down, and I see queuing time to 0, and most of the queries are spending time in execution. So if you'd like to drill down and find out the specific time frame where I saw most amount of queuing, I can click on drill down. Then it will go to the specific time period between 12:44 to 13:44. If I come down here, it will list down all the queries that ran by different users. And if I keep moving on, I can see the queries where there's significant queuing and then find out why there is a significant queuing during that time for these queries. Is it like it is waiting on some resources? I can do further analysis on top of it. Additionally, I can also see who are the users running queries during this time frame. In my environment, I have only 2, but in a real production environment, you may see more number of users. And along with the users, you will also see the number of queries they are running and where they are spending most of the time. If you look at the first one, this is significant queuing, and this user does not have any queuing. And it also tells us that who is contributing to clogging in the data warehouse environment. And you can also see additional performance metrics like the completed queries and running queries. This you saw when we selected the work group. The same metrics you can see here as well. Now we will see how to debug a query using new Visual Query Profiler. You're seeing Query Editor V2 where I have some tables loaded with sample data, and I ran a query joining supplier and nation. This query ran for almost 205 seconds. You can see that from the elapsed time. And there's a problem in this query. We'll find out what is that problem. So I'll take the query ID from the query editor v2 that I'm highlighting here, and we will go back to the enhanced monitoring view. And if you come to the query history and paste the query ID, you can see that query here. If you look at it quickly, there is no queuing time. Most of the time it's spent on execution. So let's go ahead and see further details. This brings up a visual representation of the query we ran and the amount of data that traveled from one step to another step. Usually we should turn on the view streams and see the stream which took longer period of time. In this case, if you observe, stream 1 took longer period of time among all three. So we'll start our analysis there. If you observe, the first step is scanning supplier table. It pulled up 300 million rows and joined with a nation table which has 25 rows. And after the join, it resulted in almost 7.5 billion records. And there's a nested loop here. And you also see that the nested loop was called out by the query profiler. And generally, a Cartesian join is a very time-consuming operation and often not intended operation. So let's go ahead and fix this query. I fixed this query by adding a join condition between supplier and nation on nation key. If you notice, now the elapsed time came down to just 8 seconds from prior query, which is 205 seconds. Let's look at the query plan of the updated query. Take this query ID, go back to the query monitoring, and going to the same work group and sticking in the new query ID. Then I should get the new query ID here. And if I click on that, you will see the new plan in the query planning. And while it bringing up the new plan, you can notice that most of the time it's spent in compile time and execution time, and the overall time is just 8 seconds instead of 205 seconds. Let's open this and now turn on the view streams. And you can notice that now the stream 1 has only 4 seconds. And if you go here, instead of a nested loop, it is a hash join, and it is pulling out 300 million records, and the same amount of records are coming out after the join. So this is a quicker and easier way for you to identify the bottlenecks and fix them. Now let's see how you can monitor query trends over a period of time. So to demonstrate that feature, I'm taking a scenario where I changed the base or compute capacity of the serverless work group from 128. If you look at this graph, right around 11:30 and prior to line 11:30, it's all 128 RPUs. There I resized it and lowered it to 64 RPUs. So there is a compute capacity change in the last 6 hours at around 11:45. Let's see the effect of this on the queries and also specific query how you can monitor the trend over a period of time. So if we go to queries and database monitoring and then click on the work group where I changed the compute capacity and look at last 6 hours. So this will show the trend overall. So if you see around the same time frame where I changed the compute capacity from after that time, the query started taking longer because I lowered the compute capacity from 128 RPUs to 64 RPUs. So they're taking longer at a cluster level. You can see the trend, and we can also see for a specific query. Let's say I'm picking one query and I'll put the query ID in the query history and see how is the trend. Let's take this query and see what's the trend by clicking on view query pattern for the last 6 hours. So if you look at that, you can monitor the specific query, how it performed when the compute capacity changed. So prior to compute capacity change, when it was 128 RPUs, it was finishing around 72 seconds. And after changing the compute capacity, it started taking double the time. With that, I conclude the demo. Thanks for watching.